Let's take you back to August for a minute at SEC Media Days, where Kirby Smart delivered a message to all of us. He said, "We will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. Rest assured, we will be the ones doing the hunting." And when you hit baseballs as early and as often as the Bravos did, that's going to show up on the stats a little bit. A team slugging percentage of .501. That's really good. Once we got the hang of it, we were off and running. To be able to do this one last time with the guys who did play their last game tonight, what does that mean?
It's huge, man. It's huge, man.
That same team that won 104 regular season games, nowhere to be found tonight here in Atlanta. A former Atlanta Brave and a current Atlanta Brave. Freddie Freeman, your numbers are good. Not quite good enough. I'm gonna go with Matty O. Frank, I heard Ben say a little earlier that you guys are about 13 football fields away from this station. Here in Slide County, we are about 130,000 football fields away from 13 WMAZ. Either way, we would not miss this one. Victories in the Rose, Sugar, Orange, and Peach Bowls, and of course, back-to-back national championships.
But it's the best 4 teams.
And boy, I wonder what Kirby's got to say now. Folks, in a year where the Georgia Bulldogs entered the SEC Championship undefeated and as the consensus #1 team in America, this was also a year where the Dogs could not afford to lose a single game. Even last night's conference championship to Alabama, a game that the Tide won 27-24, pushing Bama into the playoff and leaving the two-time national champs out of the conversation. All right, here's the deal. A whole lot of Falcons fans out there have been calling for that guy to be benched so they can see this guy get a chance at quarterback. But that guy being starter Desmond Ridder, he wasn't pulled from yesterday's game against the Titans because of his performance. In fact, it was because of a possible concussion. So if you were one of those people out there calling for Taylor Heineke, yesterday was your day. Fourth quarter in Nashville, Titans lead it 28-16. Atlanta needs a score. Heineke, gonna get him one right about here. Opening weekend in college baseball, always great. You get to see some new players, new additions to the ballpark, but in this case, also some pretty sweet new uniforms. Yeah, you've heard of Tiger Woods and the Sunday Red. How about the Sunday Orange for the Bears? Those things were looking sharp. Well, you know what they say, there's no place like home for the holidays. And you know what? Nobody knows that better than Mercer basketball. We're talking 6 straight home games for the Bears during the month of December, and that continued today at Hawkins Arena against Florida Gulf Coast. Greg Gary and the Bears looking for their first win over the Eagles since 2020, down by 4 in the second half. What's Jalen McCreary got to say about that? Nice move inside, gets it to go. The Bears pull within 2. This might just be the Georgia-Tennessee state line, but to many sports fans, it's more than that. Because currently here in Georgia, any kind of sports betting is illegal. But as soon as I step into Tennessee, I can take out my phone, open up any kind of mobile sportsbook app, and place a bet. So for this, let's put $10 down on the Atlanta Braves to win the 2024 World Series. Since the Supreme Court lifted the ban on sports betting in 2018, 39 states have legalized it. Now, Georgia could be the 40th. And how soon? Well, I went to Atlanta to find out for myself. Jen Ryan represents the Sports Betting Alliance at the state capitol.
We think we have a strong piece of legislation that is not introducing any new streams of gambling. What it's doing is safeguarding it, putting in rules, regs, ensuring that no one under 21 can do it, and capturing revenue.
That's right. Under this year's proposal, the SBA estimates more than $140 million in tax revenue annually allocated for Georgia pre-K education. It's revenue Georgia's currently missing out on when bettors like Ethan Foshee leave the state to strike it rich.
I mean, obviously in Georgia, I can't make a lot of outcome bets. So I make as many of those as I can as soon as I leave the state. Well, luckily you got Chattanooga right there. So go have a nice dinner or something, have a good time. And then also toss in a couple of sports bets.
So how would all this work after all? Full legalization would allow you to bet on everything from outcome-based bets like the World Series winner to prop bets like taking the over or under on a player's stats. A parlay strings multiple bets together for even bigger payouts. And yes, only online sports betting would be legal in Georgia, but
if there is a easy, safe, legal option where, hopefully the revenue is going to the right place like it would be here, the data shows consumers will make the switch.
And when it comes to making the switch, there are options. The Georgia Lottery would oversee licenses for sportsbooks like FanDuel, DraftKings, and Hard Rock, as well as for pro teams to set up their own platforms. Why so many choices?
I love to surf the deals on the internet on just about every purchase I make, so I treat sports betting the exact same way. The people that I know the most, they go to the ones that look the most legitimate, and they give them the best odds.
For Ethan, legal betting makes sense because he already uses daily fantasy apps like Prize Picks, which are legal in Georgia.
It drives me a little crazy, honestly. Daily fantasy sports is technically considered a skill. FanDuel is considered more gambling because you're betting on the outcomes of games.
When it comes to sports, the Peach State is the place to be. But will the same be true when it comes to sports betting?
We think that this is a win-win for everyone. No pun intended.
Connor Hines, 13W MAZ Sports. This season at Dublin basketball games, you'll notice something new on the floor. It's a name, Stuckey. But it's just the beginning of remembering a special man who did so much during his life in Dublin. A life cut far too short. In March, Dublin High School lost its leader. Principal Jeroy Stuckey and his family passed away in a fatal car wreck on Interstate 16.
We had an all-call with superintendent, and I remember just getting on the phone, and before I even could say a word, I just hear everybody crying and yelling, and so I hung up.
I miss him, and the whole community miss him. And that's a shame, that we're a fine young man to be gone.
His day never ended when school did.
We didn't have to ask him to show up to no competition. He was there because this was a school sport. I'm not gonna say he's supposed to be there, but he made sure he was there.
But his days as a leader in Dublin began years earlier. A critical member of Dublin's 2006 state championship team, Stuckey was the fighting Irish spirit in every sense.
Can't even talk right now, man.
Every day was fun, practice was fun. It was the last time where I played on any team where I knew every game we were gonna win.
They knew when he gave them that look, it's time to, get serious. Ooh, it's just a little look like this right here,
That 2006 team lost just twice that year, playing their games at Dublin's old gym, which still stands today. And within it, a spirit is still very much alive.
I can almost hear the crowd getting up, getting excited. Almost like the Holy Spirit's in here the whole time. And he was part of that leadership and that spirit that we had.
Whether you knew him as Dr. Stuckey or Jeroy, the 2006 state champ, Dublin is still moving past the loss of the man that made this place go. But wherever he is now, people here know that he's probably still rooting for the Irish and keeping everybody in line.
The good Lord's got him in charge of a lot of good things. I'm sure it's got something to do with basketball. I'm hopefully, when my day comes, he'll be right there leading the way. I'm sure he will be.
And in the meantime, leaving room for others to do the same.
Sometimes God take the best people to make others step forward, and I think it was just, for some of us, it was us, okay, we need to do more. We need to honor him. And for me, I know I personally feel like that.
In Dublin, Connor Hines, 13W MAZ Sports.